You are now entering the Thick Goddess Energy Morning Show. We in the building. High priestess in the building, didn't let my fears kill me. Transmuted my pain in that cleanse in the rain. Found out I was working and I conquered my demons. I accepted my purpose and the goddess I became. Good morning. Good morning. We are live. All right. So this is Thick Goddess Energy Morning Show. I am Divine Moon Goddess. This is my special guest this morning, Cherie Jackson. We're going to be getting into her medical coding, what that is as a healer, and it's her style. So we're going to be getting into that in just a moment as we kind of just let the notifications start going out, basically. This morning show is brought to you by Divine Moon Goddess Healers and Readings.com, where your questions get answered. Right now, just want to let everyone know that we do have a special. If you book in the month of this month, December, there's 30% off if you use the code Santa's Helper 333, and all of the classes that we offer are over 50% off this month. So just so you guys know that. And all right, so we're going to get into it. Of course, we're going to talk about what you do, but I want to know, just kind of touch your path. Like, what would get you to the healing path? We always got to start there. Like, how did you get here? What happened? Before we even get into what you do and how you do it.
Well, it's funny. If you told me, I don't know, 5 years ago, this is what I'd be doing, I would have thought you were crazy, because I'm a teacher by trade. But I've always been attracted to the alternative. Since, from as far back as I can remember, I have loved crystals. I have loved alternative medicine. I've loved readings and psychics, and I've been in all that. But being a teacher, I had to keep that to myself. It wasn't something that you were supposed to share and let everyone know. So I kind of sort of held back part of me, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. And it got to that stage where I'd had enough of teaching, but I could never find the right time. I was like, yeah, I'd like to do something different, but the comfort zone's there. I'm earning an income. So the universe decided that you're not listening, you're not getting out, so we are going to make you get out.
Right.
And my job became that toxic. There was bullying. It was affecting my mental, my physical health. It just got to that stage where I could not stay. So I resigned. And I look back now, and as terrible as that was, it was the best thing that ever happened.
Right.
Because then I got to connect with the real me and follow my real path. Don't get me wrong. I loved teaching. I loved the teaching side of it. It's all the admin crap and what goes with it. But it was just, I knew I wanted to do something in energy healing. What? I had no idea. And a friend said, look at the emotion code. So I thought, okay, I'll save up for that. And while I'm doing that, I'll learn as much as I can. And I then had a reading. And this lovely lady said, you were born an energy healer. You've been an energy healer in your past lives. This is what you're supposed to be doing. And my grandmother come through and told me, do not do the course. I was to connect to my past lives because I had the knowledge within me. And I was just doing it too mental. And at the time, thank you for the advice, but I was like, how am I supposed to connect to my past lives? What does she mean? But hey, I get it now. And I get what she meant by it was too mental. And so I just started finding out what I could and just practiced on people. And I just got family and friends and please be my guinea pig. Let me try this out. And it was like, oh, this works.
Right.
Then I had my first paying client. And I was like, yay, this is fantastic. COVID hit. And I was like, how do I have a client now? So that got me online. And that got me to join the tribe group. And that was one of the biggest learning curves for me, because I then learned to do this online. I then found out I could work with groups. I then discovered how I could create codes. And it was because one of the readers, one of the groups, she had had a fright with a crack in a candle. She's doing a reading.
Mm-hmm.
And for you guys, it was like day. For me, it was nighttime, being the difference in Australia.
Right.
And so I went to bed and it bugged me. So the next day, I'm like, I want to know if I can create a code to protect. Got a yes, create the code, sent it in, and got back this like, hey, this frequency is so strong. How do you use it? What do you do? And I'm like, oh, there's something here. And that's how it led from there. So I ended up finding I could do energy healing and create codes, which make things so much quicker and easier. And it's developed from there.
Right.
To actually end up creating my own modality, which I didn't realize I was going to do, but it's what happened along the way.
Right. Good morning, you guys. Good morning, you guys. We are live today. This is our live edition. We do some pre-recorded, some lives. Today we are live talking with Cherie, who is a healer. She has her own modality, so we're going to get into that, which is called medical coding. Now, for those
metaphysical coding.
metaphysical, metaphysical coding. Now, for some of you who don't understand when we say the word or term modality, just means difference in healing techniques. Okay, so that's what modality is. And she coming into, and there's already, of course, some, a lot, I'm not going to say some, there's a lot of different healing modalities, but Cherie is actually in her own way, developed her own style, her own technique. And so we're going to go in that a little bit more. Some of the phrases I want to, because we get into terminology and we understand it. And some people are like, what the hell are they talking about?
Yep.
What the hell is that? So, I'm just going to have you explain a little bit more of what it is, and then like kind of how you came, because it's all spirit directed, right? But there's always these aha moments that kind of trigger us to keep moving in the direction that we're going. So let's talk about what your modality is and how it assists and helps.
Okay. I discovered a guy called Lloyd Mears. He actually does download codes. So I'm not the only one who does it, but it was from him doing it. I thought, discovered I had the gift as well. But one of the things that makes mine different is I get guided along the way and I create like packages with it. Like I create a session that actually helps release lots of pent-up energy in that along your spine to make the energy flow freely. Gets rid of pain in the hips and lower back, shoulders, because a lot of the time our pain is not always caused from a fall or something like that. It's actually from pent-up energies. Like we get emotions that we can suppress them because we don't actually deal with them properly at the time. So subconsciously we store them. And can you imagine if you're having a fight with someone, you get really angry. Now, it takes 90 seconds for an emotion to process correctly. But if it's not processed correctly, you can keep the energy of that anger and store it somewhere. Right. So imagine that anger just continually repeating itself, like if it's near your heart or near your lungs. And that's where it can cause pain and cause issues later on. So this is where, now I'm just sort of lost my track of thought. What am I saying? Oh, yeah, so yes. And so I create frequency codes, and then I've discovered I can like clear your chakras real quick, do your meridians real quick. I can't believe how quick it can be. But then at other times it can be more in depth. So it takes time to release a layer and then another layer and another layer. It's, okay, what is it? It's definitely unique. It's non-invasive. That's what I like about it. It can be done long distance. You do not have to be with me. You can even just send an email, book an appointment, and have you not even be there. But I don't like that. I like the interaction personally. Right. I like to talk. I like the interaction. So yes.
And that was one of Debbie Manning's questions. Could you do it online or does it have to be in person? But yeah, you don't have to be in person.
No, it definitely doesn't have to be in person. Online works just as well. I work via Zoom or Messenger. as long as technology is working well. But I find because I can do the worldwide, if someone just cannot fit in a time and I can't make a time where suits both of us, then they don't have to be present. They can just say, right, can you do the healing for me? Then I send them a report. Do it that way. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you guys know I always talk about different healing, and healing is like my top. I've always been that where I not push, but stress the importance and the benefits of metaphysical healing, period, because I do believe in it. I've done, my sessions myself. If you guys don't know, I've done a session with Cherie because, when she was starting and she found us, she found the Soul Tribe and came over and brought her gifts to us, and that was where it was just like, yes, test it out on us. Like, hey, we're your guinea pigs. Now, I don't remember, it's been a while since I did the session with you. I don't remember a lot of it, honestly. I remember like bits and pieces. The thing is I was still in the beginning of my path, and I do sometimes you will sit and you'll be like, this is crazy. Like, what we do is crazy. It just sounds fucking bananas, right? So
Yes.
you got to go beyond what you think, and you got to just be able to allow yourself to receive. And I think that's the biggest part of it, is being able to receive, because if you are blocked off or cut off, that's not, you're just going to be kind of like, whatever, what's going on. You're overthinking the process. I also
Yeah.
think, you guys, you got to be open-minded to metaphysical healing. That's the other thing. You got to really come in open, without expectations. It's not something that you're going to get all this woohoo craziness going on in the session, I will tell you. It's really like just allowing, because we don't understand how that energy is happening on the back end at all. And so, what are some of the things that you come across with clients? Like, what is it, like fear? Is it just like the misunderstanding about energy? What are kind of some of the biggest things you kind of come across?
Everyone is different. My favorite is what I call a general session, where you're just coming along to see what do you need for your highest good, because I never know where it's going to lead.
Hmm.
And that's what I love. I've had one time where I had a young lady. She was only 17, so I had a mother present. And this is the first time it's happened to me. It hasn't happened since, but like I said, different things happen. All of a sudden, I connected with her past life. There was a guy from her past life. Let's just say he wasn't a very nice dude, and I was there, and I could see him, describe him. It was really weird, but I needed to do that because I was always crying. This is not the usual. I don't normally cry in sessions, but this time I was blubbering. I'm so sorry. It's like, but I had to do it to protect her. I realized that afterwards,
Right.
and did the release that was required and disconnected that past life and that kind of thing. So that just comes to mind because it was so strong. I think one of the biggest things I find with so many people, of all the different things we do, it comes down to two major things: lack of self-love, lack of self-worth. We
Hmm.
are born loved, we are born worthy, but life gets in the way that we forget that. And that is one of the things I find. I'm guided to create different things. And one of the things I do, if I'm advised, is I create charts. When I first started, my intuition was really low. So I relied on charts. Now a lot more I just download, but I still like to refer to charts at times. And one of them is to look at what I call like your soul connection, your inner essence. Where are you when it comes to being loved? And then if they're really low, let's remove the blockages, get them out of the way so you know you are loved, and to do the same with self-worth. That
Right.
comes up a lot in a lot of different things that people need, where they're coming to me for stress, or they're coming to me for some back pain or trauma. It often comes down to those two things: self-love and self-worth.
And those are huge. I remember that was a huge part that came out of my session at the time, because that was in the 2020. So I was still very much struggling with abandonment issues and unworthiness at
Yeah.
the time. And I remember all the stuff that was coming out, and I'm like, why? Wait, what? Why? it's kind of crazy that sometimes we don't even realize it. So Evelyn asked, she said, can you do healing if we request it for a loved one?
The loved one, you've got to have their permission. That's the thing. It's like if someone asked me, oh, look, my sister, I think, actually I had someone do this. I reckon my sister's got a curse. I want you to work on her. No, that person, I've got to have their permission. They've got to want the healing. It's different if you want to pray for someone, but when you're actually doing healing, no,
Right.
I've got to, I like their permission.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know, there's standards and moral compass in everything that we do. And
Yeah.
you know, just so you know that when we pray for someone, right, or we send those positive thoughts, is completely different from
Yes.
healing or doing work, because there's a sense of your own free will in the way.
Yeah.
So if you don't want it, it kind of would set anybody else up to basically be doing it for nothing, because your free will is in the
Yeah.
way. You got to have
Yeah.
that free will where you're on board and you're you know, you're on board with whatever is going on. Because if you
Yeah.
have a resistance to any energy that's coming you, you're going to block it on the other side.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
so then we have Donna said, "Can you help with self-confidence issues?"
Oh, definitely. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Again, a lot of that's to do with the self-worth. I like, one of the things I like doing is having positive statements and then measuring you against that statement. So I use a scale of like vibrational scale from 0 to 1,000,
Right, right.
and you see where you are on that scale. And let's say you're at 300. That's like, yeah, just at the bottom of the ladder, where I want you at the very top of the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
So then I use one of my frequencies and intention. So I use combine the two and release the blockages that are hindering them from actually having that statement. And that actually helps with self-confidence. So you could have a statement like, I am confident, I am enough. I've just gone blank on positive statements, but you know what I mean. And then we release those blockages out of the way. But you can also embed positive beliefs as well. Like, I'm abundant, I am confident, I speak my words truthfully or, you know, authentically, and you can embed that as well. So yes, confidence, that's one of the easy ones.
Right, right. And Greta asked, "What if the person is a minor child? Have you worked with any children? And if so,
Yeah, I prefer working with adults because kids are like, yeah, want to move around. But I will work with children as long as the parent is present. I have the parent's permission. That's the thing, yes. But with children, that's where it's easier long distance, because then, like, if they're in their own home, they can sit there and play with the toys. They're occupied.
right, right,
Where when you've got a little 3-year-old in your room that's full of crystals and things like that, they just want to grab everything. And then I find I can't concentrate. So
right,
that's when face-to-face, not a good idea, rather long distance.
right. Yeah, I know
But
that
yeah, I work with all ages.
children
Yeah.
aren't really into this like that. It's just kind of like, yeah, whatever you
Yeah.
say. Donna, rephrase your question so I can ask. So, um, one of the things I notice is that even with healing, it's been very hard for me to get people to understand the benefits and how it can help, right? Do you find
Yeah.
yourself getting to that point where it's like, I'm trying to get you to understand, one, it's not a quick fix, right? But it over time with the integration, and a lot of people don't understand the integration part of any healing. Do you find that has it been a little struggling on the healer side, trying to really get that out, or getting people to understand how it works and the time frame? Because I think everyone was just like, cure me now.
Yeah. Yeah. They forget that, you know, they've had the last 20 years of building all that up, that you're
Right.
not going to release it all in one session.
Right.
Yeah. But see, part of that too is my own issue. I'm finding it's only really recently where I've really stepped into, or feel like I'm stepping into my shoes, and my confidence has just bloomed. Where before I felt like salesy if I recommended, look, you really should have at least 2 follow-up sessions. I felt like I was pushing a sales thing.
Right.
So, but now I'm realizing that, look, for you to have the follow-up sessions, you are actually cementing the great achievements you've had in the first session.
Right.
So for your own benefit, this is where you should be doing this, this, and this. Starting to realize I'm actually helping them, not selling to them, if
Right.
that makes sense. Yes.
Right.
And that's taken a lot for me to do, to step into that.
Right. Well, I think a lot of that comes from just you stepping in, like you said, stepping into your confidence in what you're doing. Because in the beginning, we feel very clueless. I think everyone feels very clueless of what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
Am I really making the difference that I'm making? And then you start to hear it. You're hearing it, and you're hearing it over and over, and you're like, okay, I'm getting the feedback to tell me that I am doing something. It is working, and then you just keep finding yourself. So that's
and trusting. Yeah, sorry, it's the trusting, because I wanted to know everything. I want to understand everything I do.
right.
Truth be told, I do not understand it all. And I got the message, you don't need to know it all.
Right.
Just trust. That took me a lot to learn, to just trust. And if I had stopped, there was a few times where I thought about what do I think I'm doing? What makes me think I can do this?
Right.
I'm so glad I kept going. I designed a trauma package, and halfway through I stopped because I thought, look, I haven't got a psych degree, I haven't got counselling degree. What makes me think I can do this?
Right.
But it was though I was guided also, and I found this YouTube video explaining things about trauma and things. I'm like, oh, I can create a frequency and do this. Oh, include that. Then I found something else. Oh, I can include, and even now I find little things, think, oh, I can tweak it with this. I'm guided, and I find that package, it works brilliantly. The first session is the major one, and I've been what's the word, gobsmacked? I'm trying to think Australian, American English, not to say something that doesn't understand. I've done that before. I've just been surprised. It's like, oh my God, that when you get that feedback, it's like, wow.
Right.
Yeah, so glad I did it. Yeah. Like I say, don't totally understand how it all works. I know it works with your energy field and it releases blockages. Hey, it works, so go with it. Yeah.
Right. I think that was my biggest thing, where even now I still have that issue with wanting to know everything. And Spirit's always like, go sit down somewhere. You're not going to get all the answers. And I think that was probably one of my biggest problems. And I still sometimes have to tell myself, like, it's not for me to understand. That's probably one of the biggest things. It's not for me to understand. It just is.
Yeah. Oh, something's happened. It's frozen. Gee, I don't know if you can hear me, but I don't know what's happened, but it's frozen. Ooh. Do you want to just message me? Let me know if something I can do, or do you want me just to keep talking? Let me know. Or maybe I'm frozen. I'm not really sure.
Back.
It's coming back, yes.
So apparently this full moon in Gemini is acting like a Mercury retrograde for me.
Oh, it's gone again.
Back.
Oh, it's coming back. Yeah.
So
fingers crossed.
Apparently, are we still here?
Yes. Yes.
Gemini is going to be like a Mercury retrograde for me. My electronics have been acting up for the last couple days now. So I have no idea why, other than I'm a Gemini moon. Who freaking knows? So
technology.
it's like
I love it when it works.
I never really have issues with my electronics and stuff. And like the last couple of days, it's just been all crazy. So I got to figure out what's my glitch, because us, like especially me, where I'm at, it's like it could be ghost, it could be it could be a lot of things that are messing up my technology. I might have to cleanse. So we're talking about metaphysical. I want to touch just when you decide this is what I'm doing. I'm coming into my own, and now you know what? I'm gonna go to actually get this like set in stone, because you've actually this metaphysical coding is now a modality. That's huge in the
Yeah,
path, and especially where you haven't been in this path long. Like some people are in this path years, right? And they never
yeah,
get their modalities kind of finalized and official. So here you are, and I want to say within the 2 years, right? Within the 2 year mark, or a little bit more, but I think it's
yeah.
around the 2 year mark, right?
March 2020, first client, but still wasn't doing metaphysical coding. So
Right,
yeah, it's not that long.
right,
Learning curve here to here. Just
right.
yeah.
So, so
Sorry.
what, so what, how does that, of course it feels great, but how does that go where it's just like, I'm here and it's just like, who, did you get the push from spirit? Did you just feel what I got to know, like what gets you to just push to say, no, this needs to become official. This needs to get out there on a higher level.
Good question. I'm not quite sure I can totally answer it because just things are just falling into place. Um, let's see. A push from friends. This is what you should be doing. Keep doing it. The fact I love what I'm doing.
Mhm.
I'm lucky I've got a supportive husband, because it's to leave a secure job when my husband's had a lot of operations and has had to retire. So that financial fear,
Right,
that was a real big, scary part of it.
right,
But no, I kept going because it's it's because I wanted what I wanted to do. Did I get messages? I am into numbers, so I see numbers and I'm like, is that a message? Yep. I do muscle testing. So I do the muscle. Oh, yes, it is. Or I use my bobber. I love my bobber.
we got to
So,
talk about that. We got.
so that's how I communicate. I'm a lot better now. My gift is growing, that side of it. But when I started, I was like a brick. Like I could do something on you, or one of you guys, and you're like, oh, wow. Oh, I can feel it. And then I do it on myself. And I'm like, really? Hope that worked. Okay, great. So it was because what I needed seemed to come along the way. That helped. So that's what kept me going, was then to try something else. Oh, that worked. And then different things have happened along the way. It's made it so real. One of the funniest, one of the early ones, had to wear protection, a crystal, because I was losing my energy. I
Mm,
didn't have this bracelet on, and all of a sudden I got literally a poke in my throat. I'm like, what? It was a stinked finger in my throat. I'm like, what was
right,
that for? Ah, bracelet. I hadn't put my protection on. You know, but now my knowing is growing so much more. I don't have to use my pendulum and my bobber all the time. Before I really use charts. I use it to guide me, but now I can sit here and tell you how many chakras you've got blocked, how many meridians are blocked, your aura's at this percent, your energy field's at that percent. I know it. And then
right,
I'm like, jeepers, how do I know that? And I teach you how to muscle test, and I get you to check me, because I want to make sure that I'm not connecting to my ego. Like hey, it's great, I can tell you this.
right,
I've got to
right,
know that I'm connecting higher. And so, yeah. So,
right,
and because things are growing, that is definitely making me want to do more. But where I'm totally headed, I don't know, because things keep changing.
right.
But my metaphysical coding, the gift is growing, and
Right.
I will be teaching this. I've already started teaching the real easy level. I'm going to teach it in like 4 levels.
Right,
because
right,
it's too much to learn what I learned in that short time. It's not fair to
right,
anybody expect them to do so much.
right,
I'm
right.
not sure if I answered your question.
No, you know what the thing is? I think what some people, especially when it comes to skepticism and people who are skeptics, and um, I think it is that not realizing the knowing that comes when you step into here, and when you drop the part of needing to know why you know,
Yeah,
right, or the doubt that you know that you possibly could be getting this information, and you
yeah.
just allow yourself to kind of go with what is, coming to you. I think that's the beauty of it, the beauty of behind, because you're just following it, you're surrendering to the path, and you do get filled with all of this information that you have no idea how you know it or why. And then it's like go time. I think it's beautiful because, of course, I saw you in the beginning, and I remember a conversation where you were about to throw in the towel. I remember that. I remember that conversation, and you were like, AG, I'm probably not going to do this. I'm done. Or, you were just in this very space. And I honestly don't remember what I said to you or if it impacted you at all. I just remember. And then it was just like, no, she's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't remember the conversation. It's but what I do remember. One of the things that were great for me was when I've been working with psychics like yourself, psychics and mediums, because you guys can see, and having you guys, you look at me and you're going, oh look, on your left shoulder and your right shoulder, you've got some angels around you. Oh, I can see the white light, and I'm like, really? I mean, it's great. I know they're there, but I don't see them. So
Right.
having that confirmed by you guys, that to me has been major. And having the session I did with you, it was a releasing your inner self barrier. I
Hmm.
got more than I bargained for with that. Hey there, Lauren. I got more than I bargained for with that, because it was when I first designed it, I thought it was just reconnecting to your self love. But I've had where people, one of the readers, she could now hear, so her psychic ability, she could now hear. And oh my God. And I had someone else who afterwards could then see auras. So that was like,
Right.
wow. Yeah, those wow moments.
Right. Yeah, it just feels this path has been crazy. I honestly don't remember a lot of like my session. I just remember sitting in it, and the biggest part that I took away, which I feel like it, and especially in the beginning for me, a lot of it was my own learning
Yeah,
on my side. And
yeah,
like me coming into just really understanding how I connected with energy. And I don't know if you remember when I was in the session with you, and I'm just like, your energy is different. I was just like,
yes,
your energy is different. And it was
yes,
weird because I had sat with other people, I had worked with other people, and it was like spirit kept just showing me that your energy was different. And we won't go too much in that because you
yeah,
said we're not going to touch that part, but I just remember that of that difference. And I think that's where a lot of our path goes, that we don't really realize where. And then when we start talking, anything that we start going outside of what science or, terms, people get very leery, right? You start talking about angels and people are looking at you like, you
yeah.
know.
She's weird. Yeah.
So let's talk about your instrument, because that was very weird to watch you with. And let me tell you guys, when Cherie first came around to us, it was in the very beginning of my path, and I was still trying to understand a lot of the different techniques of what people were doing. And I've been a big skeptic on a lot of things, I'll admit. So I would be sitting there looking at everyone like, what the hell is this? What are we doing? But I'm like, you know what, Spirit, you said the bobber.
Yeah, my bobber. My husband made it for me. So you can still see the paint. It's a paint handle. I love it. I've never, repainted it because it's just got bits of paint on it. It was from a paintbrush, sorry. It's the handle from a paintbrush.
Right. So
So,
let's talk about how you got this, because most people just get the pendulum and they go with the pendulum because those are tools that are already there.
yeah.
Where did this idea come from?
It was to do, when I said I was first researching like the emotion code, And I did a weekend workshop. And I also, with the book, and I remember a picture of different kinds of pendulums and different tools you could use. I spotted the bobber and I went, I like that. Got my husband to make it. I went to buy it online. In American dollars, it cost us a lot more. And I'm like, God, I'm not paying that. So hubby got my picture. That wasn't too easy because there's a lot of motorbikes that are called a bobber. All I could find was motorbikes for ages. I finally got the right picture, and my husband made it. And it was literally like, pick it up and away I can go. I just sort of tuned in. And now it's so easy.
Right.
This is a yes. Sideways. Nope. Now give me shouldn't ask. Yeah, see, that's an angle. And maybe is the other way. I don't know if you can see that, but there's one that's going, that angle is maybe, that angle is not supposed to ask. And
Right.
universal, yes. So it's quicker than a pendulum. That's why I like the bobber.
I
So
thought it
much
was
quicker.
so neat just watching it go when you were I was sitting there, I just remember sitting there looking like, what the fuck? But it was crazy. You're like, wow.
The beauty of this is someone can see. I can say like, I'm actually going to tell her what to do. Like, is there a shark who's need realigning? And it's going, yes. So that's the evidence for the person who I'm working with. They can see I'm connecting. It's not me just popping in my head. So I still love using the bobber and the pendulum because it's a great way for the person I'm working with or the group I'm working with to see the information is correct.
The ones that need to see, right? Because some people need to see.
I need to see.
Like, I've gotten to a point where I am more trusting in this path where I don't need to see. There was a time where I was just very like, okay, Spirit, you got to show me, but they've shown me, or should I say, they've pushed me to just sit my little ass down and believe. Believe versus question all the damn time. But so now I wanted to touch real quick. Who are you as a healer? And I know you've touched on a little bit of not sure of where this, because we never know where this is taking us. It kind of just takes us to wherever it takes us in this path. And I think you're doing phenomenal of just creating and healing and stepping into this path, which is huge. You guys, if you want to reach out to, just to let you guys know, in the description is her Facebook page and her website that you can reach out to her should you want to try metaphysical coding. I keep looking to see, make sure I'm saying it right.
Do you remember when Cherie was trying to figure out what to call it? And we had that big ass chat where we're like throwing all these names.
Some of those names were long.
And then
remember that?
And then she comes out and it's like this really short ass word. And we had like all these big, huge, long words.
You know, I do very appreciative of everyone whose Spirit has kind of sent my way, because it has definitely been a learning experience on both ends of just watching so many beautiful, gifted people come into their own and find their way into this craziness that we do. And I do feel what you do is profound in a way. It's unique. It is something that you really stepped into outside of the box. You gotta step in and take that credit, because it's something that you took learning and then stepped outside of the box and kept going. And that is very hard. I, for one, understand how hard that is to the money and the rent and all of that, and that energy of how am I gonna fucking pay bills doing this shit,
Yeah. And people thinking you're wonky, because I get that.
Oh, yeah.
They all think, yeah, she's weird. So I'm more careful now about how I explain who I connect with or my spiritual team. I don't share that much anymore because I had like the trolls. Yeah, and I'm like, I don't need that. So I've kept that side of it quiet now. It's it's more personal. I share it occasionally, just because people just don't get it. And and they do that. They look at you like you're mad.
Right. So, it's the question of, so what do you do? And you're like, well.
Yeah, look, it took me ages. Now I'm like, I'm an energy healer. And this is one of the things where I'm definitely stronger. I had, it was actually last year at a Christmas show. And this woman, she asked me what I do. And because I was tutoring as well. And I said to her, I'm an energy healer. And the look on her face, I could just see, I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. But, I was just like, it's for some people, it's not for others. You're not the type of person being into this. It was like, I don't care what you think. It doesn't matter, because I know what I'm doing. This is my path. It's real.
Right.
It is real. I've had the evidence. It took me a while to really believe it myself. That's why I kept testing on you guys. I had to find out it was real. It really works.
Right.
I needed that for my own self-belief.
Right.
But now, I'm an energy healer.
Nice.
I only now and then like, do I tell him?
Right.
But now I'm like, hey, this is who I am. I love it. I can be more me. You're asking about like who I am. That question I find really difficult. But that's one of the things I love now is being me. I love sort of fun things. I love crystals. I can say that now. I love going to readings. I love having a psychic reading. I get a kick out of it. Hey, I do the cards myself now. And I found that sometimes people need to hear that.
Right.
Part of healing is actually getting a message. So I've discovered, because when I pulled this card out and it told me, what was it, counselor? And I'm like, no, I'm doing metaphysical coding. I'm not going into counseling. I was really like, a silly card, to realize, hey, no, when you're listening to someone and you're talking to someone, that is healing. And at times I need to pull a card. So I pull a card for them. I don't tell them the message. I read the book. So I don't do like a reading, but I read the message. And every time it's been like, oh, wow, I needed to hear that. Thank you.
Right.
That's what I needed.
Right.
That's part of healing.
I'm late, but I remember, did you guys touch on her husband at all? Because I remember.
Not really, no.
I'm just wondering how he's, because I know when we were talking at first, you used to always play around and be like, my husband thinks I'm like batshit crazy. Like, like he's just like, you're at it again, kind of things. And so I'm wondering now that he's kind of seen your path, what is he? Is he still like, okay, I support you, but whatever? Or is he?
He does support me. I mean, look at this, for the fact that he's had to retire and I'm doing this. I'm not looking at, working full time, going into teaching, that kind of thing. I've had the freedom to develop this and develop my skill.
Right.
But he is more the science mind. So for him, this is really like, as he says, I love my wonky wife. I'm his wonky wife and he loves me, so that's fine.
Right.
And there's some things I don't share with him because I think, oh God, if I told him about that experience, he's going to lock me up. I'll just keep that one quiet.
Right. On some level, this does get what people use the term crazy. And we know that there is a fine line between, the insane and what we do. We have to be, right? To believe, to really assist, to listen, you kind of have to allow yourself to just be in that moment. Is there any clients that you're just really like, this is not going to help you. Maybe you need professional mental help. Is there any clients where you're just like, you know what, this is not, I'm not the practitioner for you?
I haven't had that, thank goodness. But I have had a woman bring me her husband and it was like pulling teeth. I would say, I don't remember the incident, but it was like, okay, you've got this suppressed emotion of anger. It's from an incident to do with a family member around the age of da-da. And he'd go, no. And his wife goes, yeah, that's when da-da-da-da. And he's going, oh, yeah. I'm like, Okay. That was hard. And that is something I've said to myself. I'm not interested in doing a session with someone who doesn't want it.
Right.
It was there purely for his wife. There's no point. They're wasting their money.
Right.
Because I like the interaction. I like working with someone. And I love the feedback. So when I ask you about, something happened at the age of 3 and to do with whatever, it's great hearing that and that you're involved in thinking, yeah, there was that shock because of whatever. But when they're not interested in being there, I don't want it. Yeah, that's too hard. It really is too hard.
Right. I don't think you can really help at that point. It's just kind of like, it is kind of a waste on both ends. I don't want to say a waste. For you, it probably was a learning curve.
Yeah. So, I decided I'm not working with those people. They've got to want to be there. It's just not worth it. Yeah. It's much easier when they want to be there.
Right. Awesome. So again, you guys, this is Cherie Jackson. She has her own healing modality. She's an energy healer. It is called Metaphysical Coding. It is about numbers. So if you're into like numbers, it is the frequency. If you get a little bit more into, and of course, we all kind of have to learn this. I think we all should learn this, if anything, is that how the universe works with synchronicities, numbers, the frequency. It is a code of kind of mathematical in a way, where it has this kind of just that type of thing. It's not going to be your woohoo kind of session.
No.
Not going to be fireworks and shit happening, but it's definitely something that you can try. So trauma, you work with you kind of work with all kind of things, self-worth, trauma, whatever's going on that you might need. It is an alternative approach, especially if you're not getting, I never tell anyone not to do their Western medical stuff. Do your Western medical or what, but if you're not, you definitely have some alternatives, and Cherie has one. This is an alternative approach. Yes, all about number frequencies. What is this word though? Fibonacci? What's that?
I have no idea.
What's that, Donna? I have no idea. Is that a person?
Yeah, let us know what that's.
Let me know if that's a person or not. But to reach her information is in the description. You can reach her through Facebook or her website. She is in Australia, so you folks in the US got to be mindful about that, because she is out of the country. And any last, as we're kind of getting to the end of this, any last kind of just words of someone seeking healing or looking for a place, or just, what would you want to close out and say?
I'd recommend trying it. So just to say what it is?
She said it's a mathematical sequence. I'm going to definitely Google it afterwards, because I'm just one of those people who need to know stuff.
Yeah, because the codes, all ours are frequency. It's like you got a sound frequency.
Right.
And so by saying the number, that does the healing. It lets the body know, they're like the intentions in the number, what to do. It's like some people are ruled by their head, others are ruled by their heart. Well, to me, there should be balance between the two for you to make a real true decision.
Right.
So I use a frequency that balances the two.
Right.
And sometimes you have to say it. Usually you don't. But there's other times, yes, you need to say the frequency, so I'll repeat it for you, and it does whatever it's what I'm asking it to do.
Right.
But for people, to me, give energy healing a go. It's amazing. That is something I always loved trying with all different modalities. I would go and try a Reiki session. I'd try the bars, and then I'd try kinesiology, and I get a kick out of that.
Right.
So I do recommend energy healing. You'd be really surprised.
Right.
And so far, fingers crossed, I've only had positive feedback. And a lot of it, even after the first session, people notice differences. Yes. So yeah, it's worth a try. And the beautiful part is you don't have to, you keep your privacy. So if it's something to do with like trauma or whatever, you don't have to share that stuff. And actually, when things like that, I prefer it not, because I don't want to get emotional.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, I can't know about some really stressful thing to heal someone, because then I'm like, oh no. Yeah. So this is the beauty of it. It's so easy for the person who's participating, because they just get to sit there. I chat, oh, this is what's wrong. I teach them how to muscle test. You can now check me. Those people don't know how to do it. And so it's an interactive where we're working together.
Right.
And now too, I've just introduced what I call little enhancement workbooks, where they get to do affirmations before, reflect on what it is they want, and that's making the healing session so much stronger, and the processing time so much less. Because before, sometimes the body needs time to process. Now it's quicker processing, which is good.
Right.
So yeah, I'd say give it a shot. It's worth it.
I love it. I'm always learning. So when your class is ready, let me know. I'm always learning everything possible to learn. I'm one of those people, a jack of all trades. So
one of the things I'm doing now is creating myths. Now, I was never into myths, but now I've got my clients, my regulars. They walk in the door, I just hand them the mist. They spray themselves, because it does their chakras, meridians, aura, magnetic field, release energy blocks, all in one hit. Nice. So, and that sounds funny, but it's just amazing how it works. When they sit down, I'm not spending that 20 minutes going through all those things. So if it comes up chakra, then I know, okay, this is deep. We need to do like a deep cleanse, or there's something deep that I need to look into. So yeah, so that's something I'm using in my healings now, that makes things quicker and easier.
I think it's crazy how the mind and the body work, and what happens in all of this, even with like the sprays and stuff. It's really, really, really mind blowing sometimes to me. So I think that's freaking awesome. I think it's awesome. You gotta show your necklace, because
oh yes,
I think it's not only beautiful. So when you get them ready, you let me know so I can support you that way. Very beautiful, because that's your logo, right? Your logo. But tell us about this and the meaning behind it.
Okay, this actually is protection. And I was talking earlier, this is actually how I got into the codes, the candle, the cracking. So I created the protection frequency. This contains 2 frequencies. So this is actually not for your everyday public. It's actually for readers, healers, psychics, mediums, people who work with energy. So it actually protects you. That's the whole idea of it. I've done that, and I do a spray as well. So my spray, I will spray like the room. Don't have to stage, I just bit of spray. And when a client leaves, I always do that bit of spray. And that just cleanses off their energies. I had a psychic lady, she got it because she had the spirit issue. She sprayed, issue gone. So it's, I must admit, I can't believe how powerful it is. But yeah, it's powerful. Like, whoa. Because they contain frequencies, the energy of so many crystals, so many what do you call bark flowers and essential oils. I get guided what to put in, and I was guided to create this. And so this is one of the things I will be doing in the very near future. But you can see there's 3 little rocks on the points. They're going to vary, and I will choose when someone, when I get ready to do this, I'll be choosing which one will suit that individual, which crystal. I think it's on onyx. Yeah, it's on the black onyx, because it's really also protection.
Yeah. I think it's beautiful, and of course, because it's your logo, and I think it's phenomenal of just stepping into that and just embracing it. Because again, I do get it where you kind of, it's like, I don't want to just be selling a bunch of shit to people, but I love how in so many